All right, unfortunately, I left my the connector for my microphone to go into the phone in Canada, and I haven't bought one yet. So here we are with the headphones. But today I want to make this video just to remind you to notice between your breaths, notice between the inhale and the exhale, because it is so important and it can really help you find that freedom, find that ease, find that happiness that everyone is seeking in their lives. Like all the things that we're doing, all the destruction that we're causing to the planet, I think, is really just so we can feel safe and secure, so that we can feel at ease. But we're going about it in completely the wrong way. So if you yourself are realizing that all you really want in your life is ease, or all you really want in your life is happiness, then you have to find it within. And one place to really recognize it, because it really doesn't go anywhere, is the space between your breaths, the space between the inhale and the exhale. Just notice that, hold that, stay there, feel that, become that. And the more you do this, like even for 30 seconds, the more your life will transcend, the more your life will just change and shift into ease, shift into that balance between two breaths. And you might notice that your thoughts and your emotions only become really wild and uncontrollable when your breathing is unconscious. But as soon as your breath is conscious, as soon as you're conscious of the space between your breaths, my goodness, you find yourself. Like you really do transcend physicality, like you really are just there. And so no matter what happens in your life, you may get pulled out of that and get into thought patterns or emotional patterns, or just life happens and you just get drawn into emotions, but you can come back to it quite easily because you remember it's right there. And so if you're someone who wants to find ease, or wants to find what you're calling happiness, see if you can find the ease, see if you can find the space between each breath. Just notice it, just sit there, just rest there, and see if over time, just gently over time, you begin to notice a shift in your own self and shift in the way you handle life, because you become so much more clear, so much more perceptive of yourself and how you are. And then the more perceptive you are of yourself, the more perceptive and aware and clear you are in the way you handle the world, and notice the world, and notice people, and understand why you're doing what you're doing, and why you're headed in the direction you're headed in, and why the world looks like it's in so much chaos and it really isn't so much chaos. But you can become an anchor in that chaos. You can become an anchor between the breaths. While everyone else is lost in their breath, well, they're lost in their thoughts and their emotions and the ups and downs and the inhales and the exhales that are just unconscious, while the rest of the world is stuck in that. And of course, it's a really simplified way of putting it, but I think it is that simple. You can be an anchor of the one who's able to step back from it all and just observe it. And your calmness is your asset. Your calmness is what humanity will benefit from, is what this very planet will benefit from. Because the more stable humans we can have, the better off we'll be. But the more chaos there is, the more we're all trying to claim position, or conquer each other, or make more than each other, or step on each other, or be better than each other, which the literal presidents right now of the major countries are trying to do. The more we act like children, then the harder it will be. But the more we are stable, the more people who are just stable on an individual level, the better it will be. So if you want that stability in your life and you think it's impossible, it's never going to happen, life's so much easier to complain, and it is easier to complain. But if you just put enough effort into just being still and noticing that space between your breaths, it might take 6 or 7 years like it did for myself, but eventually one day it'll just open up and you're constantly in that. And even if you do find yourself getting pulled out because you are a human, you can just come right back to it so easily, so simply, so subtly. And eventually it will look like you're just glowing from your forehead. That's a whole nother video. Anyway, so notice the space between your breaths and begin to transform. We have some meditations on the channel already that point to this directly. Check them out. Subscribe if you like. Join our community. Link in the bio and in the description. But either way, just notice that space between your breath, and you'll begin to give yourself so much freedom, so much space that you probably didn't notice before.